So now we're gonna open it up to questions and answer. I guess we want to kind of bring the lights up a little bit if people want to ask questions, and there's a mic up here if you want to just come up.
All right, this is the hardest part of the event, I feel, because everybody sits in their chairs. Nobody wants to get up and ask a question. Got it. But if anything you heard today inspired you or got you angry or you disagree with, please, this is the time. Ask a question. What do you guys think? Anybody? Anybody has a question? Anybody wants to come up here? Just ask a question. We'll discuss for a little bit.
I have a question. I want to go back. I'm better using my voice. I'm more comfortable without the mic. Project your voice. Project my voice. I'm kind of coming back to when you started this open dialogue, asking who we are as Zeitgeist, as attracted to these concepts, as naturally attracted to these ideas, these progressive ideas, and who we are with the level of obstacle and duality that we face with this in our life experience. It's very interesting. Don't mind. I'll for the video. Yeah. Okay, well I'll give you guys my rap real quick on how we can make Zeitgeist happen quick. How we can make Zeitgeist happen in 2012 for all of us. Super, totally awesome, wonderful 2012. What will it do? Everything for us, catalytically quick. Get rid of money, get rid of the dominator, get rid of the dominator cultures.
Dude, I'm sorry, do you have a question? You really?
This is 5 minutes.
Okay. Well, we're trying to get to questions.
This is gonna. I have a question. I have a question for you all. What can make this happen for us? What can make this happen for us that catalytically quick? That we will get rid of dominators. We will get rid of money. We will instantly have a creation of energy technologies, free energy technologies. Get off all the archaic track oils, bad evils, all of that stuff. We will cure all diseases. We will cure AIDS. We will cure cancer. We will uplift all of the third world countries. Not in the matter of generations, not in the matter of years, but quickly, in months, if not days. We will, on top of it, this event would just shake everything up and bring it to levels of progressions and ascensions. All of the ideologies of the lesser egoic religions that were twisted around and confounded, your fundamentalists, Islam, Christians, all of that, uplifted, and shook it up. What do you guys think can make this all happen for us? Totally awesome, 2012.
Mushrooms.
Zeitgeist. Mushrooms?
Mushrooms.
It is so that's anybody shouts
I think the common man on the street doesn't know that there is such a thing as the concept of a resource-based economy. I just don't think that the common man is aware.
The dominator won't allow us to have a resource.
The reason I became a coordinator for New Jersey is because I think that if people, knew that a resource-based economy was a true option that actually could be an existing thing, then they could start turning their minds towards it and start. I mean, for years I conceptualized a world without money because of its inherent inequity, and any system I ever thought about was just a substitution in the end. And nobody was talking about this, so I was like alone in this. Like, why do I think that we should find another way? Once I saw Addendum, I started to understand that a resource-based economy was a way to go, not a substitution of money, a different way to go do things. So what I'm trying to say is that spreading, if you want it to happen in 2012, I'm not sure. 2013, look, this is a country of 300 million people. Maybe it's 320 now, I forget. How many people have ever heard RBE? How many people know of it? So if 50 million people knew about it, they'd start talking, and then people could see that maybe there's another way.
Okay, we have a question here.
It wasn't a question, it was more of a comment on what he was saying. All right, what is the answer? You have to, it's information. Knowledge is power. If you look at what Douglas Millett is doing with his farm, technological farm, he is building something that is it's going to support itself and produce food for about 1,600 people in a local community. And then he's sharing how to do that. You have to share the knowledge. Like there was a guy here who was talking about hydroponics. All right, it's very hard for one person to do something, but you have to collaborate. When several people come together, Mozilla Firefox, Wikipedia. That's not all done by one person. It's done by people cooperating. And once you cooperate, don't just keep that knowledge to yourself. You're not doing it for profit. You're doing it to help your local community. Once you do it, share it, so everybody can do it. It spreads. And I think that's a good answer to.
Well, life is hard though. How are we gonna do this? I just want to go to work, and I come back. I'm tired. I'm really tired after I come, from work. Like, what are we gonna do?
Okay, I go to work, but when I come home, I do things that I'm interested in. I don't just come home and lay on the bed. No, if I have something, I find the time and the energy to do what I really want to do, which isn't work. It's whether it's playing video games or learning about computer programming or learning about what people at the TED Talks are talking, or I don't know, learning about the Zeitgeist movement and the Venus Project. Nobody's paying me to do that. I'm probably gonna get together with the guy who's working on hydroponics and do that because I'm interested. I want to know how to do that. I think that's very excellent information. And if you can make that available, okay, how did he make hydroponics the best efficient project at the time? Share that with people. Maybe somebody else can put their input and make it better.
Two quick points with what has already been said, but I'm gonna start with what he just said. We have a project that we would like to put together, which is a project called Biodome, and it's really finding a space where people can start building and putting food. So hydroponics would be included in that. It's really one thing that's happened in California, and I kid to tell you this. I don't know if you know about this, but there is so many people that are professionals that are farming in California. I don't know if you know these things. And there is Transition USA, there is Laguna Transition. There's a lot of systems of information out there, and people are somewhat concerned about what's happening. When you have tornadoes here, earthquakes here, disasters up and coming, people are saying, hey, professionals that are going back and they're planting in people's backyards. So a biodome is something that we are looking forward to. I have a friend of mine also. We're putting together a website. He's putting together, and I'm just doing the best I can. But we are entertaining those that want to learn web building and want to take part. You get in touch with me, and we want to have other people. So we have to develop a bunch of tools, skill sets, so that all these tools that we can apply them. But with everything, when we're talking about social movements are not linear because we're dealing with people's minds. How you're affected by television is not the way he's affected by television. How she's affected by television is not the way he's affected by television. We're affected by the things that we do. It stymies our growth. It puts us in a position of indecision all the time. We're not quite sure. And yet, even when we may have a theoretical understanding of an RBE, how do we use language that is appropriate to speak to others, which is a real challenge. How do you go to people's level and work with them to build them up? If you feel that maybe they are not quite there yet, do you meet them where they are? Or do you sit on top in a pedestal and then you tell them where they need to be? Those are the questions you have to answer.
And if anybody has any questions, please, guys, raise your hand, come up here. This is your time, Come on. It's been there. It's been there.
All right. Okay. Sorry. That's okay. It's one of those questions for the audience. It's a stupid question, so maybe it'll make you laugh a little bit. I know a lot of you are signing or something. So what's the problem with violence? I mean, why can't we just grab our pitches and forks and whatever and just go and bash and kill and whatever up or down the way? And if we have enough, more guns, boom, 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 we shoot them down. We take our resources, it's ours now, we start producing it. Then we go into the whole stuff, we feed everybody. What's wrong with that? Why can't we do that? That's a question, right?
Awesome question. Take what you can, which is what big countries with big weapons usually do. They go into other countries, they use false reasons, and they go in there and they're stealing resources. Well, yeah, Afghanistan has two major resources, for instance. They have abundance of lithium for trillions of dollars, and they have opium, which is very important for everybody to get their opium. Pharmaceutical and otherwise.
Well, I think on top of that, the reason the countries do that is that I guess they still are living from a like very old social structure, which is people just don't understand that we're able to create abundance of all the things that we need. Perhaps 50 years ago we couldn't have. Perhaps 50, 75 years ago we couldn't, but now we can. And that's very important. Everybody sort of has to sort of understand that, internalize that. And I think, and obviously this stuff is cultural, so you don't just tell someone this information and they go, oh, I changed, you know what I mean? It has to be slow, it has to be sort of realized. It has to be processed and internalized. So that's sort of the difficult nature. It's spreading this information at a rate where people can slowly sort of understand it and hopefully, like you said, internalize it and process it. So that's the challenge.
I would just love to just jump in here and answer that question you had about like, oh, I just want to work, I want to make my money and get by. And the concept of like the transition and my own epiphany I had about it recently is that if you're trying to be so like efficient, super successful, you're eventually going to reach a plateau in your business, and then you're going to go out of business. You're no longer going to be needed to be around because you've made your product so good and so great. So my idea was, if you really want to change the world really, really quickly, I was thinking, you find a sector that is a huge problem in the world today, but you try to do it your best. You take that business model that's eventually going to crash down from being too efficient. So then you replace this property. You are able to get money to do the project. And then when you're done, you've solved that problem of the society. It's in place, it's there, and you no longer need to be there. And then you could take that little bit of profit that you made from it and go to the next problem. And also I wanted to say, like, when you were talking about kind of like it's cooperation. Like, I am one person, I have a few little strengths, but I don't know how to do computer technological stuff at all, writing code. Each one of us has a valuable resource to contribute, to be a leader, to add to the project. And all we got to do is find that spot, work on it to bring about this reality. We have to be the change. I just wanted to add that.
Oh yeah, I was going to say something about the guy who asked a question about violence. Every time you hurt or abuse someone else, you plant the seed of permission for them to hurt or abuse you. We walk down the street late at night scared that someone might rob us. We don't realize that we put ourselves in danger by participating in a system where we compete against others to meet our needs at their expense.
Well, I just wanted to say, after what Mike and Hans have been talking about, is that one of the greatest misconceptions about these ideas, concepts, principles we're trying to put forth is that technology or cutting-edge technology equals that, a transformation in behavior. And I think this is a great misconception, and this is the perception that is sent across through movies like Zeitgeist, Addendum, and moving forward, that by having that only technology alone will fix all our the bad things that are going on.
All our ills.
Our ills. But the thing is that it's really, I can hold. It's really, you're making me nervous. It's really much more complex than that. If we look at the, how societies evolve, from hunter-gatherers, bands, tribal chiefdoms, into complex societies, states, the way we know them today, we will see that, technology, given, at any moment in history, doesn't equal a better, social behavior or a society. So it's really much more complex. And I think it's going to take also an evolution in our
Thinking.
The way we perceive each other. This has been said before, in our talks and our conversations as well. And Peter Joseph has said it, and he said it very well when he said, until self-interest doesn't become social concern, I mean, we can't expect much to happen. So I just wanted to put that out there, that.
Yeah, just to continue with what Brian has just talked about, and this is the sort of that equilibrium that is really needed. In other words, but technology multiplies itself in exponential growth. Our intelligence grows in a much more 1+1 linear growth, so which is quite different. And also, human beings have become roboticated through the program of television. Television programming. So you're being programmed every day. So the important thing is, and sometimes I think in Zeitgeist Addendum when they had said, turn off the television set, even when you are on the internet and you could do whatever you want, but you're still being the initiator, you're the actor. You're the subject, you're not the object of somebody else's desires. So, which is a very small steps in beginning to sort of create those kinds of mind change. But that's for us here. But what happens with the population? How do you get to them? Those are the questions that I think we really, because the social system, as we've said it, right? If it's outdated, it's antiquated, it's old. But who keeps the social system? Who keeps it going? People. The media, but it's people. We all, not just dominating culture, people, because people still believe in it. Okay, yes, they've endorsed the dominating culture's point of view, but people keep those systems going.
I want to say that it's the dominant group. It's the dominant group that always keeps all the ideologies that benefits them in place.
They put it out, but you endorse it.
Yeah,
you
well,
internalize it.
Yeah, but the
People
thing is,
participate.
The thing is that some people don't have a choice. They accept it without even knowing how harmful it is to their well-being.
That's correct.
So basically, they take advantage of people's inadequacies and what they're missing in their life. And for example, the whole Jesus myth and everything like that, about how if you give your life to God and everything, that it doesn't matter what kind of a miserable life you have. There's something out there waiting after the afterlife, so that's better than what you're doing in your life right now. So. Go back to technology. Technology, the better it gets right now, the worse it's going to be for humanity, because you're making bigger bombs, you're getting drones to do the killing instead of soldiers doing the killing now. So technology, the better it gets, doesn't matter at all. If you don't have if you don't apply it for a social and environmental concern, doesn't matter. You're going to kill everybody at the end of it. You're going to starve everybody else out. So technology without, like Jacques says, the environmental and social concern is nothing. It's just a bunch of millions of tons of junk of machinery just sitting around, just to keep people in shape. So basically, the most important thing I think for the Zeitgeist movement, Venus Project, all these grassroots movements is basically information, just educating everybody and letting everybody know about what's really going on. So basically, we can't do anything. If one group of people gets together and is like, all right, let's make a biodome, let's get everything together, like get all the resources and get all the technology to make ourselves self-sustainable, for a while, everything's going to be good, and then other people are going to come take it from you. There's going to be war.
It's still setting an example for other people to follow.
Yeah, setting an example is a great thing. You should do that, but at the same time, everybody should do, in their own creative capability, their own creative projects and their own individual projects to let people know and inform people, basically. That's the most important thing. We haven't reached critical mass yet. When we do that, then we can do all these giant projects. But,
I want to thank you guys. I want to thank you guys for engaging in this dialogue and having this conversation. This is really important. As we said before, the most important aspect is education. So the best thing you can do with the information we presented you today, the best thing you can do is do your own research and to ask questions and to talk to people and to really engage, because having a movement, having something that's going forward, that's going somewhere where no one asks questions or no one challenges what's being said and what's being presented is the way that we become stifled, it's the way they become complacent, and it's not what evolution and what really moving forward with the work that we're doing is really about. So we're actually out of time at the moment, but if you guys want to talk after, we are having a reception after this event in which you guys can further your discussion, further your dialogue, and really start asking those questions that can make what we did here today even better. So thank you all for your comments.
Yeah, so yeah. So lastly, guys, we're gonna be meeting at Tribeca Tavern. You didn't say that, right? Okay, Tribeca Tavern is 247 West Broadway. So you just make a right outside of Walker. You 2 blocks down. 247 West Broadway, that's Tribeca Tavern. And we're going to be meeting there for whoever wants to chill, drink, have some talks, and see us without the lights. And also,
one last word, everybody, one last word. Every time we engage with somebody, we have to evaluate, did we teach, but did we also learn? Did we teach and did we learn? We have to learn as well as teach. So every time, because don't think that we have all the answers, because we don't. Be very serious about it.